She thought she was saving a homeless man and his daughter that freezing night. She had no idea he was about to become her boss and change her life forever. One act of kindness when she had nothing left to give. One night that would turn her world upside down. But before the fairy tale came the fall. Before the miracle came the breaking point. This is the story of Julie Harper, the woman who lost everything only to discover that sometimes rock bottom is where miracles begin. Before we dive in, please hit that subscribe button and stay with me until the very end, because what happens next will leave you speechless. And drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from. I want to see how far Julie's story travels across the world. Ma'am, we're going to have to let you go. 6 words. That's all it took to destroy 6 years of Julie Harper's life. She stood in that HR office, hands gripping the edge of the desk, and watched Sandra slide a folder across the table like she was serving divorce papers. But I don't understand. My performance reviews, it's not about performance. Sandra's voice was ice. Restructuring. Your position's been eliminated. 2 weeks severance. Benefits through month's end. 2 weeks severance wouldn't cover her mother's medication for 1 week. Julie took the folder, walked out, made it to her car before the shaking started. She didn't cry right away. She called the pharmacy first. Hi, yes, I need to check on prescription 4847 for Margaret Harper. When can I pick that up? Pause, $340, but last month it was... Longer pause. I see. No, I'll call you back. Then she cried. The drive home was a blur of red lights and wrong turns. Her phone buzzed constantly, unknown numbers. She knew what they were. Medical billing, credit cards, the second notice on rent. Home was a third-floor walk-up with peeling paint and a radiator that sounded like someone was murdering a cat. But it was home. It was where her mother was. Mom? Julie pushed through the door. I'm back. Margaret Harper sat in her armchair by the window, oxygen tube in her nose. 68 years old, looked 80. Cancer aged you that way. How was work? Julie forced a smile. Fine, same as always. She couldn't tell her, not yet. I heated water for tea, Margaret said. Well, I tried. The kettle's being temperamental again. Mom, you shouldn't be up. I can boil water, Julie. I'm sick, not dead yet. Yet, that word hung in the air between them. Julie made fresh tea, sat down, tried to breathe normally. You look tired, Margaret said quietly. I'm fine. Julie Marie Harper, I changed your diapers. Don't lie to me. And just like that, Julie broke. They let me go. Today. Restructuring, they said. Margaret's face crumpled. Oh, baby. It's fine. I'll find something else. There are other jobs. Julie was talking fast now, convincing herself. I'll call temp agencies tomorrow. Expand my search. Maybe it's better you know. Maybe I needed a push to... Stop. Margaret reached across and gripped her hand. Stop pretending. They sat there in silence. 2 women who'd survived too much to believe in easy answers. That night, Julie opened her laptop and started applying. Administrative assistant, receptionist, customer service, entry level. She'd take anything. 20 applications? 30? 50? Her phone rang. Unknown number. This is Mercy Hospital Billing Department regarding your outstanding balance of $8,462. Julie hung up. She walked to the window, pressed her forehead against the cold glass. Outside the city glittered, thousands of lit windows, thousands of people having normal lives. A memory surfaced. She was 7. Her father had just died. Heart attack, no warning. Her mother was trying to figure out how to keep them afloat. Are we going to be okay? Julie had asked. Margaret had cupped her face. Baby, we're Harper women. We don't break. We bend. We find a way. Always. Julie whispered it now, alone in the dark. We find a way. But she didn't know what that way was anymore. 5 days passed. Rejection emails piled up. Thank you for your interest, but we've decided to move forward with other candidates. She stopped reading them. On the 6th day, February 14th, Julie took her mother to the clinic. Dr. Patel's face told her everything before he said a word. The cancer's progressed. We need to start a new treatment protocol immediately. Cost? Julie's voice was flat. With insurance, which I understand you're transitioning roughly $4,000 monthly. Julie nodded like this was reasonable, thanked him, helped her mother to the car. That night, a storm rolled in. Freezing rain that turned streets into ice rinks. The kind of weather that made you want to hide from the world. Julie couldn't sleep. She lay there listening to her mother's labored breathing through the wall, doing impossible math in her head. Even if she found work tomorrow, it would be weeks before a paycheck. Even maxing her credit cards wouldn't be enough. Even selling everything she owned wouldn't make a dent. Around midnight, she gave up, put on her coat. "Where are you going?" Margaret's voice came from the bedroom. "Just need air. I'll be back." "Julie." "I'm fine, Mom." She wasn't fine. Outside, the cold slapped her hard. Ice pellets stung her face. The streets were empty. Julie walked with no destination, hands shoved in pockets, breath coming out in clouds. She ended up downtown near her old office. Everything looked different at night, sharper, lonelier. There was a cafe on the corner, usually open late, but tonight dark, closed because of the storm. Julie stood there staring at those dark windows and felt something inside her crack open. She'd been holding it together for so long. For her mother, for herself. For the belief that if she just kept going, eventually things would get better. But standing there in the freezing rain, she didn't believe that anymore. She was about to turn back when she saw them, huddled in the cafe's doorway, a man and a little girl. The man had his coat wrapped around the child, leaving himself exposed. The girl couldn't have been more than 6. Even from across the street, Julie could see them shivering. "Walk away," her brain said. "You have nothing to give." But the little girl looked up. Their eyes met. Julie heard her mother's voice. "If you can still help someone when you have nothing left, that's when it matters most." She crossed the street. "Are you okay?" The man looked up sharply, pulling the girl closer. Late 30s dark hair plastered down, exhaustion carved into his face. "We're fine." The little girl's lips were blue. Her jacket was useless against this cold. "You're not fine," Julie said. "How long have you been out here?" His jaw tightened. "Shelter opens in the morning." They said maybe, which meant all night in this. "Come with me." Julie was already moving. "I live a few blocks away. You can warm up." "We don't need charity." "Good, because I'm not offering charity. I'm offering basic human decency. Now, are you coming, or are you going to let your daughter freeze to prove a point?" That did it. He stood slowly. "Just to warm up, then we go." "Sure." The walk back was silent except for ice crunching underfoot. Julie's mind raced. What was she doing? These were strangers. This could be dangerous. But when she glanced back and saw him holding his daughter's hand, guiding her over icy patches, her chest tightened. This wasn't danger. This was desperation. "Third floor," she said at her building. "No elevator." They climbed in silence. Julie's hand shook, unlocking the door. "Mom," she called softly. "I'm back." Silence. Good. "Bathrooms down the hall," Julie said quietly. "Towels in the cabinet. Get dried off." The man hesitated. "I'm Matt. This is Diane." "Julie, go on." While they were in the bathroom, she moved fast. Space heater, clean blankets, water boiling for tea. Her hands shook, but now from adrenaline. What was she doing? No money. No job. No plan. And here she was, using electricity she couldn't afford, offering food she didn't have. But her mother's voice kept echoing. Matt and Diane emerged looking more human. Hair dry, faces colored, clothes still damp, but better. "Sit." Julie gestured to the couch. They sat like they were afraid to take up space. She brought tea. Diane wrapped her small hands around the cup and breathed in the steam. "When did you eat last?" Julie asked. Matt's jaw tightened. I'm not asking what you want. I'm asking when you ate." Silence. "Right." Julie turned to the kitchen. She found soup, made sandwiches, brought it out. Matt stared at the food like it might vanish. Diane looked up at him, asking permission with her eyes. "Go ahead, sweetheart," he said softly. The little girl ate slowly, then faster. Matt tried to be dignified, but Julie saw the hunger. This wasn't one missed meal, this was days. She sat across from them. "How long have you been out there?" "This is temporary," Matt said. I have a job starting soon. We just need to make it. He stopped, shook his head. About 2 weeks. 2 weeks in February. What happened? Julie asked quietly. Matt was silent. Then, my wife died last year. Cancer. His voice was hollow. The bills bankrupted us, lost the house, then the apartment. Then, he gestured vaguely. Here. Julie felt her chest crack open. I'm sorry. Yeah. He looked at Diane, who was nodding off against his shoulder. I got a job offer. Good one. Starts in 3 weeks. But they want relocation, and the advance doesn't come until I start. I thought we could manage in the shelter, but it's full every night, and I can't let her. I know, Julie said. Because she did. They sat in silence. Storm outside, heater humming inside, Diane's breathing evening out. You can stay tonight, Julie said. Both of you, and in the morning. She paused. We'll figure out next steps. Matt looked at her with something between hope and suspicion. Why, Julie thought about her mother sleeping next room, her empty account, her rejected applications. Because someone was kind to me once. She lied. When I needed it most, I'm still trying to pass it on. Matt's eyes filled. He looked away. We'll leave first thing. Okay. She gave them her couch, her blankets, her heater, checked on them twice during the night. Around 3 a.m., she found Matt awake, staring at ceiling. Can't sleep. He shook his head. Keep thinking this is a dream, that I'll wake up outside again. Julie sat on the floor beside the couch. It's not a dream. Thank you doesn't seem enough, he said. Most people look right through us, like we're invisible. Julie knew that feeling. Being invisible, being forgotten, being nothing. You're not invisible, she said. You're just two people having terrible luck at the same time. But luck changes. Does it? Matt looked at her. Does it really? Julie thought about her mother, her job, her bills, her shrinking world. I don't know, she admitted. But I have to believe it does. Because if it doesn't, what's the point? They sat in darkness together. Two strangers who understood each other perfectly. What's your story? Matt asked. Julie almost didn't answer, but the darkness made her speak. Lost my job last week. Mom has cancer. We're drowning. I'm out of options. Tonight I walked because I couldn't stand my own head anymore. Then I saw you and thought, she laughed brokenly. I thought maybe if I helped someone, maybe that would mean I'm not completely useless. Matt was quiet a long time. You saved us tonight. You know that? I gave you soup and blankets. Sometimes that's everything. Morning came gray and cold. Storm passed. Julie woke to find Diane coloring with crayons on scrap paper. Matt was folding blankets, erasing evidence. You don't have to do that. Yes, I do. He looked at her. You have no idea what last night meant, but we can't impose. Julie wanted to argue, but she looked at her mother's door and knew she couldn't. Not without explaining everything. She made them breakfast. Last eggs. Last bread. They ate quickly. Then Matt stood. Before we go... He pulled out a handkerchief from his pocket, old worn. This was my wife's. I want you to have it. I can't. Please, you gave us everything. Let me give something back. Julie took it. Soft, well-loved. Someone's treasure. Diane tugged Matt's sleeve. Daddy, can I give her my drawing? Of course, sweetheart. The little girl handed over the paper. 3 stick figures. A rainbow. Wobbly letters, thank you. I'll keep this forever, Julie whispered. Then Diane did something unexpected. She pulled off a bracelet from her wrist. Simple green wire, crooked homemade. For you, she said. So you remember us. Diane, honey. Matt started. I want to. She shared. So I share. Julie knelt down, let her slip it on. I'll treasure it. Matt wrote his number on scrap paper. In case you ever need anything. Which seemed absurd, but Julie took it. She watched them walk down the stairs, watched them disappear. Then she was alone again. She pinned the drawing to her fridge. Tucked the handkerchief in her pocket. Wore the crooked bracelet. Proof that kindness still existed. For 3 days, those tokens kept her going through rejections and phone calls she couldn't answer, and her mother's worsening cough. On the fourth day, her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost ignored it, but something made her answer. Julie Harper. Yeah, oh. This is Miranda Cross from Westbrook Corporation. We received your application for administrative assistant. Are you available for an interview? Julie's heart stopped. Westbrook Corporation, one of the biggest in the city. She'd applied weeks ago and forgotten. Yes, absolutely. When? Monday morning, 10 o'clock? I'll be there. Thank you. She hung up and started crying. Finally, something good. Monday morning, Julie put on her best interview suit and took the bus downtown. Westbrook Corporation occupied a gleaming tower in the business district. The interview went well. The hiring manager seemed impressed, asked good questions, smiled occasionally. We'll be in touch, she said at the end. You're definitely in consideration. Julie thanked her and left, rode the elevator down, walked through the marble lobby, pushed through glass doors, and froze. There in the lobby, standing by reception, was Matt. But not her Matt. This Matt wore an expensive suit, styled hair, polished shoes. He was talking to a group in business attire, and they were listening like he mattered. Julie's mind went blank. Matt looked up. Their eyes met across the lobby. His face registered shock, recognition, something else. He excused himself and walked toward her. Julie stood rooted, unable to breathe. Julie, his voice was different, confident. What are you doing here? Interview. I had an interview. She was stammering. Why? He looked uncomfortable. Can we talk privately? He led her to a quiet corner. People glanced curiously. Julie felt like she was dreaming. I should have told you the truth that night, Matt said quietly. But I couldn't. Diane and I were traveling incognito. After my wife died, I needed to disappear. Figure things out away from expectations. So I left everything and wanted to see how people really lived. Julie stared. Who are you? Matt took a breath. Matthew Westbrook. I'm the new CEO of Westbrook Corporation, started last Monday. The world tilted. CEO of this company. The homeless man was actually, this isn't real. Julie backed away. This is a joke. It's not. Julie, wait. But she was walking away, mind spinning. Julie? She turned. Matt stood there looking lost. You saved us that night, he said. You reminded me what it means to be human. To have nothing and still give everything. I've been trying to find you. He pulled out a piece of paper. Diane wouldn't stop talking about the kind lady. She drew this yesterday. Another drawing. This one showed Julie at her fridge, the first drawing pinned above her head. She remembers everything, Matt said softly. So do I. Julie couldn't speak. I want to offer you something, Matt said. Not because of pity, because we need people like you here, people who actually care. No. The word came sharp. I don't need your charity. I helped you because it was right, not because I wanted something back. That's exactly why I want you here. Please, just think about it. But Julie was leaving, pushing through glass doors, gulping cold air. She went home. Didn't tell her mother. Spent the day in a daze. That night, she held the green wire bracelet, studying it. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Ms. Harper, this is Miranda Cross from Westbrook. Good news, we'd like to offer you the position. Julie's throat closed. The administrative assistant position. Actually, there's been a change. The CEO has requested to meet with you personally about a different opportunity. Can you come tomorrow, 2 o'clock? This was real. Yes, Julie said. I'll be there. She hung up and stared at the bracelet, the ugly, crooked, beautiful reminder that kindness existed. Tomorrow she'd go back. Tomorrow she'd face Matt again. Tomorrow everything might change. But tonight she pinned the second drawing next to the first, slipped the bracelet back on, and let herself believe that maybe rock bottom really was where miracles began. Her mother's voice drifted from the bedroom. Julie. Everything okay out there? Julie looked at the drawings on her fridge, at the bracelet on her wrist, at the handkerchief in her pocket. Yeah, Mom, she called back. Her voice was stronger now. I think it might be. Outside, the city lights glittered. Somewhere in one of those towers, Matt was probably looking at that same city, thinking about that same night. And tomorrow, their worlds would collide again. But this time, Julie wouldn't run. Julie stood outside the Westbrook Tower at 1:55, watching her reflection in the glass doors. Same interview suit, same worn shoes. But everything felt different now. She touched the green wire bracelet on her wrist. Took a breath. Pushed through the doors. The receptionist smiled. Ms. Harper, they're expecting you. 40th floor. They, not he. Julie's stomach twisted. The elevator ride felt like falling upward. Her hands were ice. What was she walking into? What did Matt really want? The doors opened to a reception area that screamed money, marble, floor-to-ceiling windows. A view that made the city look like a toy. Julie! A woman in a sharp blazer approached, hand extended. Miranda Cross, we spoke on the phone. Please follow me. They walked down a corridor lined with executive offices. Through glass walls, Julie saw people in meetings, people on phones, people who belonged here. She didn't belong here. Miranda stopped at a corner office, double doors. He's just finishing a call. He'll be right with you. Then she was gone, and Julie was alone in a waiting area with leather chairs and abstract art that probably cost more than her yearly rent. The door opened. Matt stepped out. For a second, neither of them moved. Then Matt smiled. Not the CEO smile, the real one. Julie, thank you for coming. I'm not sure I had a choice, she said quietly. You always have a choice. He gestured to the door. Please, come in. His office was massive. Windows on 2 walls, a desk that could double as a dining table. And sitting on the couch near the window coloring with crayons was Diane. Julie! The little girl jumped up and ran over, throwing her arms around Julie's waist. You came. Daddy said you might not come, but I knew you would. Julie's throat closed. She hugged her back. Hi, sweetheart. Look, I drew you another picture. Diane pulled her toward the couch where papers were scattered. See, that's you, and that's me, and that's the soup you made, and... Diane, honey, give Julie a second to breathe. Matt's voice was gentle. He looked at Julie. She's been asking about you every day, drawing pictures, telling everyone about the kind lady who saved us. Julie knelt down to Diane's level. These are beautiful. You can have them all, Diane said seriously, because you're my friend. I'd be honored. Matt cleared his throat. Diane, sweetheart, can you go with Ms. Miranda for a little bit? She said something about cookies in the break room. Diane's eyes went wide. Real cookies. Real cookies. Okay, bye, Julie. Don't leave without saying goodbye. She bounded toward the door where Miranda had reappeared, then turned back. Promise? Promise, Julie said. The door closed. Silence filled the space. Matt gestured to the couch. Please, sit. Julie sat stiffly on the edge. Matt took a chair across from her, keeping distance between them. I owe you an explanation, he said. You don't owe me anything. I do. Matt leaned forward, the elbows on knees. That night in the storm, I wasn't lying about who I was. I was exactly that person. Broken, lustma desperate. The only difference was I had money in a bank account I couldn't access, and a job waiting that felt a million miles away. Why? Julie asked. Why would someone like you be out there? Matt was quiet for a moment. After Sarah died, after we lost everything to medical bills, and I finally accepted this position, I couldn't just step back into my old life. I needed to understand what I'd become, what really mattered. So I took Diane and we left, stayed in shelters, ate at soup kitchens, slept in our car when we had to. That's insane, Julie said. You had a daughter. I know. Matt's voice cracked. I know it sounds crazy, but I needed her to understand what we'd survived, what other people go through. I didn't want her to grow up in a bubble thinking money solves everything, when we'd just learned the hardest way that it doesn't. Julie stared at him. You could have died that night. We would have, if not for you. Matt held her gaze. You saved us, Julie. Actually saved us. And you did it when you had nothing. That night, I learned more about leadership and humanity than I did in 10 years of business school. So what, you're giving me a job out of gratitude? Julie stood up. That's what this is. No. Matt stood too. I'm giving you a job because after what I saw that night after I started here and looked at how this company operates, I realized we're missing something fundamental. We have policies and procedures and HR departments, but we don't have heart. We don't have someone who actually cares about the people here. I'm not qualified. You're the most qualified person I could find. Matt walked to his desk, picked up a folder. I've spent the last week researching you, Julie. 6 years at your last company. Every single performance review mentioned your empathy, your ability to connect with people, how you always went above and beyond. You organized a meal train when your coworker's husband had a stroke. You stayed late to help train new employees even though it wasn't your job. You donated sick days to someone you barely knew. Julie felt exposed. That's just being decent. Exactly. And that's what we need here. Matt handed her the folder. Head of Employee Wellness, new position. You'd build programs for struggling employees, work with HR on better policies, create support systems for people dealing with health crises, childcare issues, financial problems, everything you wished you'd had when you needed it. Julie opened the folder, stared at the salary number. It was more than double what she'd made before. This is too much, she whispered. It's exactly right. Matt's voice was firm. You'd be doing the work of 3 people, changing lives, changing this company's culture. If anything, it's not enough. Julie's hands shook. People will talk. They'll say I slept my way here or that you're paying me back for that night. Let them talk. Matt's jaw tightened. I know the truth. You know the truth. That's what matters. Is it? Julie looked up at him. Because I have to work with these people. I have to face them every day. And right now I'm nobody. A receptionist who lost her job and somehow landed in the executive suite. You think they'll respect me? I think you'll earn their respect by doing the job, Matt said quietly. The way you've earned everything else in your life. By showing up. By caring. By being exactly who you are. Julie wanted to believe him. God, she wanted to believe him. But doubt was a familiar companion. I need to think about it, she said. Of course. Matt pulled out a business card, wrote something on the back. My personal cell. Call me anytime, day or night. And Julie... He paused. I'm not doing this to ease my conscience. I'm doing it because it's right for this company. You being the person who helped us is just how I found you. But you being the right person for this job, that's all you. Julie took the card, nodded, started toward the door. Julie? She turned back. Thank you, Matt said softly, for that night, for seeing us, for reminding me that kindness still exists. Julie's eyes burned. You're welcome. She found Diane in the break room, chocolate cookie crumbs on her face, talking Miranda's ear off. Julie? Diane jumped down. Are you leaving? I have to go, sweetheart, but I'll see you again soon. Promise. Julie looked at those hopeful eyes and couldn't lie. Promise. The bus ride home felt surreal. Julie stared at the folder in her lap, the business card tucked inside. Head of Employee Wellness. It sounded made up. It sounded impossible. It sounded like everything she needed. But at what cost? She found her mother in the living room, knitting with shaky hands. How'd it go? Margaret asked. Julie sat down heavily. He offered me a job. That's wonderful. When do you start? I didn't accept it. Margaret's needles stopped clicking. Why not? Mom, it's complicated. The CEO, he's... Julie stopped. How did you explain this? He's the man from that night, the one I helped? Margaret's eyebrows rose. The homeless man. He wasn't homeless. Well, he was, but not really. He was traveling with his daughter and... Julie rubbed her face. It doesn't matter. What matters is he's offering me this position, and I don't know if it's because I'm qualified or because he feels guilty. Does it matter? Margaret asked. Of course it matters. Why? Her mother set down her knitting. Julie, you've been qualified for better positions for years. You stayed in that receptionist job because it had good insurance and steady hours so you could take care of me. How many promotions did you turn down? That's different. It's not different. You've always put everyone else first. Maybe it's time someone put you first for once. Margaret reached over, took her hand. This man, he saw something in you that night. Not just kindness. He saw strength, compassion. Everything I've always seen. Maybe he's just giving you the opportunity you deserved all along. Julie's eyes filled. What if I fail? What if you don't? Margaret squeezed her hand. Baby, you've been surviving on scraps for so long you've forgotten what it's like to actually live. Take the job, take the chance, let yourself have something good. That night, Julie couldn't sleep. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling doing calculations. The salary would cover her mother's treatments. The insurance would be better. They could move to a better apartment. She could breathe for the first time in years, but the whispers, the judgment, walking into that office knowing everyone would wonder how she really got there. Around 2 a.m., she picked up her phone, stared at Matt's number, put the phone down, picked it up again. Finally, she typed, "Can we talk tomorrow, just you and me? No office, no pressure. I need to understand what I'm walking into." The response came immediately. "Coffee, 8 a.m., corner cafe near your place. I'll be there." Julie stared at her phone. He was awake too, probably lying in his own bed, wondering if she'd say yes, wondering if he'd pushed too hard. She typed back, "See you then." Morning came too fast. Julie dressed carefully, not interview clothes, just jeans and a sweater. If they were going to talk honestly, she needed to feel like herself. The cafe was nearly empty. Matt sat in the back corner, 2 coffees already on the table. He wore jeans too, a simple shirt. He looked like the man from that night again. "Hi," Julie said, sliding into the seat across from him. "Hi." Matt pushed 1 coffee toward her. "Black, right? That's what you made that night. You remember that?" "I remember everything about that night." Matt wrapped his hands around his own cup. It was the night that changed everything. They sat in silence for a moment, then Julie spoke. "I need you to be honest with me, really honest. Is this job real or is it charity?" Matt didn't hesitate. "It's real. The position was already in development before I met you. We've had issues with employee burnout, turnover, complaints about lack of support. I knew we needed someone to address it, but every resume I saw was corporate robots who'd never experienced real struggle." "And then you met me," Julie said quietly. "And then I met you. Someone who knew exactly what it felt like to need help and not have it. Someone who gave everything when she had nothing. I thought if we're going to build these programs, why not have them built by someone who actually understands? But you could have found someone with experience, someone with credentials. I found someone with something better. Authenticity." Matt leaned forward. "Julie, I can teach you corporate procedures. I can't teach you to care the way you care. That night, you didn't help us because it looked good, or because you wanted something back. You helped us because you couldn't walk past someone suffering. That's what I need in this role." Julie wanted to believe him, but years of being overlooked had taught her to question good things. "What about the board?" she asked. "What about the other executives? Did you tell them how we met?" "I told them I found an exceptional candidate through unconventional means," Matt said carefully. "I didn't give details. That's your story to tell if you want to." "So they don't know. They don't need to know. All they need to know is you're the right person for the job." Julie took a sip of coffee. It was bitter and hot and real. "I'm scared," she admitted. "I'm scared of failing, of people judging me, of proving everyone right who said I'd never amount to more than a receptionist." "Who said that?" Matt's voice went hard. "Lots of people. My old boss, some coworkers, myself mostly." Matt was quiet for a long moment. "You want to know what I see when I look at you? I see someone who kept going when most people would have quit, who took care of her mother while working full-time, who gave her last bit of warmth to strangers on the worst night of the year. That's not someone who'll fail. That's someone who doesn't know how to fail." Julie's throat tightened. "You barely know me." "I know enough." Matt held her gaze. "I know you're stronger than you think, kinder than you need to be, and exactly what this company needs. So I'm asking again, will you take the job?" Julie looked down at her coffee, at the green wire bracelet on her wrist, at the chance sitting right in front of her. "Yes," she whispered. "I'll take it." Matt's face broke into a genuine smile. "Thank God. Diane's been asking every hour if you said yes yet." Despite herself, Julie laughed. "She has. She told me this morning that if you didn't take the job, she was going to fire me and hire you herself." "Smart kid." "She gets it from her mother." Matt's smile faded slightly. Sarah would have loved you, you know. She always said the best people are the ones who help when no one's watching. Julie felt something shift in her chest. I wish I could have met her. Me too. Matt cleared his throat. So, you start Monday. HR will handle all the paperwork. I've arranged for an office on the 38th floor, and I've scheduled meetings with department heads so you can start understanding what people need. That's 3 days away, Julie said. Is that enough time? I don't know. Is there a manual for this? Matt laughed. You're going to write the manual. That's the whole point. They talked for another hour about the scope of the role, about Julie's ideas, about how to navigate corporate politics. By the end, Julie felt less terrified and more determined. One more thing, Matt said as they stood to leave. I meant what I said yesterday. Call me if you need anything. Advice, support, someone to vent to. I brought you into this. I'm not going to leave you hanging. Thank you, Julie said. Then, can I ask you something? Anything. That night when you were sitting on my couch, you said you were waiting for a job to start. Did you already know you were coming here? Matt nodded. I did, but I didn't know if I could do it. If I could step back into that world after everything. You helped me see that I could, that I should. Because if there were more people like you in places like this, maybe it would be different. I'm just one person, Julie said. So was I that night? Matt said quietly. Just one person who needed help. And you changed everything. Imagine what you can do with actual resources. Julie walked home in a daze. She'd done it. Said yes, taken the leap. Now she just had to figure out how to fly. Her mother was waiting when she got back. Well, I took the job. Margaret's face lit up. Oh, sweetheart, that's wonderful. Is it? Julie sank onto the couch. Mom, what if I'm making a huge mistake? Then you'll fix it. That's what Harper women do. Margaret sat beside her. But I don't think it's a mistake. I think it's the first right thing that's happened to us in a long time. That weekend, Julie let herself imagine it. A real salary, good insurance, an office with her name on it, the ability to help people the way she'd wished someone had helped her. But she also prepared for battle. Because Monday morning, she'd walk into that building not as a visitor, but as an employee. And some people were not going to be happy about it. She was right. Monday morning, Julie arrived at 8. HR processed her paperwork, gave her a badge, showed her to her office. It was small, but it was hers. Desk, computer, a window that actually looked at sky instead of brick wall. Welcome to Westbrook, the HR rep said with a practiced smile. Then she left and Julie was alone. She'd barely sat down when her phone rang. Internal line. Unknown extension. Hello. Is this Julie Harper? A woman's voice, cold. Yes. This is Patricia Hendricks, Senior VP of Operations. I'd like to see you in my office, now. The line went dead. Julie's stomach dropped. This was it. Whatever she'd been preparing for, it was starting. Patricia's office was on the 42nd floor, bigger than Julie's, more windows, more everything. Patricia herself was 50-something, perfectly coiffed with eyes like chips of ice. Sit, she said without preamble. Julie sat. I'm going to be direct, Patricia said. I don't know what your relationship is with Matthew Westbrook, and frankly, I don't care. But I've been with this company for 20 years, and I've never seen someone with your lack of qualifications land a director-level position. Julie's face burned, but she kept her voice steady. I understand your concern. I don't think you do. Patricia leaned forward. This company has standards, procedures. We don't just create positions out of thin air for people we barely know. So I'm telling you right now, I'll be watching very closely. And the second you slip up, I'll make sure everyone knows exactly why you're really here. Julie felt like she'd been slapped, but her mother's voice echoed, we don't break, we bend. I appreciate your honesty, Julie said quietly. And you're right to have concerns. I don't have traditional qualifications for this role. What I do have is lived experience with exactly the issues this position was created to address. I know what it's like to be a struggling employee, to need support and not have it, and I'm going to use that experience to build something real here. Patricia's expression didn't change. We'll see. You're dismissed. Julie stood on shaky legs and walked out. She made it to the bathroom before the tears came, locked herself in a stall and let it out. This was day one. Day one and someone already hated her. How was she supposed to do this? Her phone buzzed. Text from Matt. How's your first morning? Julie stared at the message. She could tell him, could say Patricia ambushed her, could ask for help. But that would prove Patricia right, that she needed special treatment, that she couldn't handle this. She typed back, "Good, getting settled." Another text. "Diane wants to know if you'll have lunch with us. No pressure." Julie wiped her eyes, checked her reflection, fixed her makeup. Then she typed, "I'd love that." Because if she was going to survive this, she needed to remember why she was here. And lunch with a little girl who believed in her seemed like exactly the right reminder. Lunch with Diane turned out to be exactly what Julie needed. They met in a small conference room on the 40th floor. Matt had ordered sandwiches and Diane had brought her coloring books. "Julie, look." Diane spread papers across the table. "I made you a welcome card for your first day." It was covered in hearts and stars and stick figures. Julie felt her throat tighten. "It's perfect," she said. "Thank you, sweetheart." Matt watched them with a soft expression. "How's the morning been, really?" Julie glanced at Diane, who was busy drawing another picture. "Eventful." "Patricia." Matt's jaw tightened. "How did you—" "She came to my office right after she called you, wanted to register her concerns about my hiring practices." Matt's voice was controlled, but Julie could hear the anger underneath. "I told her those concerns were noted and dismissed." "You can't fight my battles for me," Julie said quietly. "I'm not fighting your battles, I'm protecting my decision." Matt leaned forward. "Patricia's been here 20 years and she's terrified of change. Every new initiative, every shift in culture, she fights it. This isn't about you, it's about her losing control." "It feels about me." "I know," Matt's expression softened. "And I'm sorry, I knew there'd be resistance, but I didn't think it would start this fast." Diane looked up from her drawing. "Is someone being mean to you, Julie?" "No, honey. Because if they are, you should tell them you're Daddy's friend and they have to be nice." Diane's face was serious. "That's what I do at school when kids are mean." Julie and Matt both smiled despite the tension. "That's good advice," Julie said. "I'll remember that." After lunch, Julie went back to her office and started making lists. Programs to develop, people to meet, problems to solve. She was deep in research when her door opened without a knock. A woman in her 30s stood there, arms crossed. "So, you're the new hire everyone's talking about." Julie looked up. "I'm Julie Harper. And you are Rachel Chen. I've been doing half this job for 3 years without the title or the pay." She walked in uninvited and sat down. "So, forgive me if I'm not thrilled about someone swooping in from nowhere to take credit for my work." Julie set down her pen. "I'm not here to take credit for anything. What work have you been doing?" Rachel blinked, clearly not expecting the question. "I run the employee assistance hotline, field complaints, connect people with resources, handle crises, all while doing my actual job in HR." "That sounds exhausting." "It is." Rachel's defenses lowered slightly. "But someone has to do it. People here are drowning and no one cares." "I care," Julie said quietly. "That's why I'm here. To build something real. Something that actually helps. And I can't do that without knowing what's already being done. So tell me, what's working, what's not? What do people really need?" Rachel studied her for a long moment. Then she started talking. 2 hours later, Julie had pages of notes and a much clearer picture of the problems. Employees working through health crises with no support? Single parents struggling with childcare? People taking on second jobs to make ends meet? Mental health issues ignored until someone had a breakdown. "The company has resources," Rachel said, "but no one knows about them. And the ones who do are too afraid to use them because they think it'll hurt their careers." "That's going to change," Julie said firmly. Rachel raised an eyebrow. "You've been here 6 hours. Don't make promises you can't keep." "I'm not. I'm telling you what's going to happen." Julie met her gaze. "And I need your help to do it. You know this place. You know the people. You've been fighting this fight alone for 3 years. I'm not here to replace you. I'm here to back you up." Something shifted in Rachel's expression. "You're serious." "Dead serious." Rachel stood up. "Okay, I'll help. But if you turn out to be just another corporate fake who talks big and does nothing, I'm done." "Fair enough," Julie said. Rachel paused at the door. "For what it's worth, Patricia cornered me this morning too. Told me to keep an eye on you, report back anything suspicious. What did you tell her? That I don't work for her. Rachel almost smiled. Welcome to Westbrook, Julie. Try not to let them eat you alive. The next 2 weeks were brutal. Julie worked 12-hour days meeting with department heads, reviewing policies, listening to employee complaints. She discovered a company where people were treated like numbers, where sick days were scrutinized, where asking for help was seen as weakness. She also discovered allies. Carlos in IT, who'd been trying to start a mental health initiative for months. Jennifer in accounting, who'd created an unofficial support group for working parents. David in legal, who wanted better family leave policies. People who'd been fighting these battles alone, desperate for someone in power to listen. But for every ally, there was opposition. Patricia wasn't alone in her resistance. Senior management saw Julie's initiatives as coddling, as unnecessary expenses, as making employees soft. We're not running a charity, one VP told her in a meeting. People need to handle their personal problems on their own time. Julie bit back her first response, took a breath. With all due respect, when employees are worried about losing their homes or watching their kids go hungry, they're not productive. Helping them isn't charity, it's good business. That's a nice theory, Bob, the VP said dismissively. But the bottom line is turnover costs more than support. Julie cut in. Her voice was steady, but her hands were shaking under the table. We spend hundreds of thousands recruiting and training new employees to replace the ones who burn out. What if we spent a fraction of that keeping the ones we have? The room went silent. The VP stared at her. Julie held his gaze. Matt spoke from the head of the table. Julie's right, we're going to pilot these programs. 6 months. Then we'll look at the data. It wasn't a victory, but it was a start. That night, Julie got home after 9. Her mother was already asleep. Julie heated leftover soup and sat at the kitchen table staring at Diane's drawings on the fridge. Her phone buzzed. Text from Matt. You were incredible today. Don't let them make you doubt yourself. Julie typed back, too late, I've been doubting myself all day. Then let me doubt for you. I don't doubt you for a second. Julie smiled, despite her exhaustion. Diane's still up. Just fell asleep, but she told me to tell you goodnight and she loves you. Julie's eyes burned. That little girl barely knew her and already loved her. When was the last time someone had said that, tell her I love her too, Julie typed. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. She's not the only one, Matt wrote. Then immediately, sorry. That was inappropriate. Forget I said that. Julie stared at her phone. Her heart was hammering. This was complicated. This was her boss. This was dangerous. But it was also the first spark of something good she'd felt in years. She didn't respond, just set down her phone and tried to ignore the warmth spreading through her chest. The next morning, Julie arrived early and found a package on her desk. Inside was a coffee mug with "World's Best Julie" written in child's handwriting. A note from Diane. For when you need coffee to be brave. Julie pressed the mug to her chest and let herself cry for just a minute. Then she washed her face, filled the mug with terrible office coffee, and got back to work. By week 3, Julie had launched her first initiative, an anonymous hotline where employees could report problems without fear of retaliation. Within 48 hours, she had 20 calls. A single mother who couldn't afford childcare during school breaks, an employee with diabetes who was rationing insulin, someone caring for a parent with dementia who was using all their sick days and vacation time, and still it wasn't enough. Julie documented everything, built cases, presented solutions. We have 300 employees, she told Matt in his office, and at least 50 of them are one crisis away from complete collapse. We can fix this. Show me how, Matt said. So she did. Emergency childcare fund, medical expense assistance, expanded sick leave, flexible work arrangements. None of it was radical. All of it was necessary. Matt approved every single proposal. Patricia was furious. You're setting dangerous precedents, she said in a meeting. If we help one person, everyone will want help. Good, Julie shot back. Everyone should be able to ask for help without being afraid. This is a business, not a support group. It can be both. Julie was tired of being polite. And it should be. We spend 40 hours a week here, more than we spend with our families. Why shouldn't this place support us? Because that's not how the real world works, Patricia said coldly. Maybe it should be. Julie stood up. Maybe the real world is broken and we have a chance to fix our little corner of it. I'm going to take that chance. You can either help or get out of the way. She walked out before Patricia could respond. Her hands were shaking. She'd just committed career suicide, talked back to a senior VP, burned a bridge she couldn't afford to burn, but she also felt alive for the first time in weeks. Her phone rang immediately. Matt. My office, now. Julie's stomach dropped. Here it came, the reprimand, maybe even termination. She'd pushed too hard too fast. She took the elevator up each floor, a countdown to disaster. Matt's door was open. He was standing at the window, hands in pockets. Close the door, he said without turning. Julie did, waited. Matt turned around. His expression was unreadable. That was either the bravest or stupidest thing you've done since you got here. Probably stupid, Julie admitted. Patricia's demanding I fire you. I understand. She says you're insubordinate, reckless, a liability. Julie nodded. She'd known this was coming. She's also wrong. Matt walked toward her. You're not insubordinate. You're honest. You're not reckless. You're passionate. And you're not a liability. You're exactly what this company needs. Julie's breath caught. You're not firing me. I'm promoting you. Matt pulled out a folder. VP of Employee Relations, more authority, more budget, more ability to make real changes. Matt, I've been here 3 weeks. And in 3 weeks, you've done more than most people do in 3 years. You've identified problems, created solutions, and fought for people who can't fight for themselves. That deserves recognition. He held out the folder. Take it. Keep pushing. Keep fighting. And don't you dare apologize for caring too much. Julie took the folder without a shaking hands. Patricia's going to lose her mind. Patricia can deal with it. Matt's voice was firm. This is my company now, and I want it to be the kind of place where people like you thrive, where people like me and Diane would have been supported when we needed it most. You're helping me build that, so there's no more doubting yourself. Deal? Deal, Julie whispered. That night, she told her mother everything. About the promotion, about the fight with Patricia, about Matt's support. He believes in me, Julie said, still stunned. Like really believes in me. Margaret smiled knowingly. He's not the only one who believes in you, is he? Julie blushed. Mom? I'm just saying a man doesn't create a position and promote someone 3 weeks later unless there's something more going on. He's my boss. It's complicated. Life is complicated, baby. Doesn't mean you can't have something good. Julie thought about that as she lay in bed that night. About Matt's text. About the way he looked at her sometimes. About Diane calling her Julie like she was already part of their family. It was complicated. It was potentially disastrous. It was everything she shouldn't want. But she wanted it anyway. The promotion changed things. Suddenly, Julie had real power, real budget, real ability to make changes. She hired Rachel as her assistant director, brought in Carlos and Jennifer as program coordinators, built a team of people who actually cared. Within 2 months, they'd helped 37 employees, prevented 2 evictions, connected someone with cancer treatment assistance, provided emergency childcare for a dozen families. The numbers were small, but the impact was massive. People started trusting the company again. Morale improved, turnover dropped. Even some of the resistant executives started coming around. Not Patricia, never Patricia, but others. Julie was working late one Friday when Matt knocked on her door. You're still here? He asked. So are you. I live here practically. Matt leaned against the doorframe. You should go home, spend time with your mother. I will, soon. Julie rubbed her eyes. Just want to finish this proposal for Monday. It's Friday night, Julie. The proposal can wait. Can it? Julie looked up at him. Because every day we wait is another day someone's struggling alone, another day someone's choosing between rent and food. I can't. Her voice cracked. I can't stop thinking about how many people needed this and didn't have it. How many people are still out there needing it? Matt walked in, closed the door behind him. You're going to burn out if you keep this pace. I'm fine. You're not fine. You're running on fumes and rage and determination. Trust me, I know. I've been there. Matt sat across from her. After Sarah died, I worked myself to exhaustion because stopping meant feeling, meant facing everything I'd lost. Is that what you're doing? Julie's eyes filled with tears. I just want to help people. You are helping people. You've helped dozens. But you can't help anyone if you collapse. Matt's voice was gentle. When's the last time you took a day off? Julie couldn't remember. That's what I thought. Matt stood up. Close your laptop. You're done for tonight. Matt, that's not a request. That's your boss telling you to go home. He softened. Please, Julie. For me, for your mother, for yourself. Julie saved her work and shut down her computer. She was exhausted. Bone-deep tired in a way she'd been ignoring for weeks. They walked out together. The office was empty, the city lights glittering through the windows. Can I give you a ride home? Matt asked. I take the bus. I know, I'm offering a ride anyway. They rode down in the elevator together. Matt's car was in the executive garage. Expensive, but not flashy. He opened her door before she could reach for it. Where's Diane? Julie asked as they pulled out. Sleep over at my sister's. She loves her cousins. Matt glanced at her. She asked about you again today. Wanted to know when you're coming for dinner. You don't have to. I want to. She wants to. The only question is if you want to. Julie looked out the window. It's complicated, Matt. Why Because you're my boss? Because people already talk? Because if we... She stopped. Because I don't know how to separate work from personal when my work only exists because of something personal. Matt was quiet for a long moment. You're right, it is complicated. But Julie that night in the storm, that wasn't about work. That was two people connecting in the worst moment of their lives. And ever since then, I've been trying to figure out if what I'm feeling is gratitude or something more. Julie's heart was pounding. And it's more, Matt said quietly. It's been more since the morning you walked out of my office rather than taking what you thought was charity. Since you stood up to Patricia. Since you threw yourself into this job like saving the world was actually possible. I respect you, I admire you, and He stopped. I care about you. More than I should. Matt, we can't... I know all the reasons we can't, but I needed you to know anyway. He pulled up to her building. I'm not asking for anything. I just needed to be honest. Julie sat there, hand on the door handle. Every rational part of her brain was screaming to get out, to keep it professional, to not risk everything she'd built, but the rest of her wanted to stay. I care about you too, she said quietly. Both of you. Diane's become so important to me, and you... She turned to look at him. You make me believe that good things can happen, that people can change, that maybe I deserve more than I've been settling for. You deserve everything, Matt said. They sat there in the car, the engine idling, neither moving. Finally, Julie opened the door. Good night, Matt. Good night, Julie. She made it halfway to her building before she turned back. Matt was still there, watching to make sure she got in safely. Something in her chest cracked wide open. She walked back to the car, knocked on his window. He rolled it down, concern on his face. Sunday dinner, she said. Me, you, and Diane, if the offer's still open. Matt's face broke into a smile. It's open. Always. Okay, Julie smiled back. Then I'll be there. She walked into her building feeling lighter than she had in months. It was complicated. It was risky. It was everything she'd been afraid to want. But maybe, just maybe, it was also exactly right. Sunday came faster than Julie expected. She stood in front of her closet at noon, already having changed 3 times. Too casual, too formal, trying too hard. Just wear the blue dress, her mother called from the living room. The one that makes you look happy. Julie pulled out the dress. Simple, nothing fancy, but it made her feel like herself. She put it on and stared at her reflection. When had she last cared this much about dinner? You look beautiful, Margaret said when Julie emerged. Her mother was sitting up today, color in her cheeks. The new treatment was working. The insurance from Westbrook was covering everything. He's a good man, Julie, and that little girl adores you. It's just dinner, Mom. Nothing is ever just dinner. Margaret smiled knowingly. Now go. Now. And don't come home too early. Matt's house was in a neighborhood Julie had driven through, but never imagined living in. Tree-lined streets, actual yards, houses instead of apartments. She checked the address 3 times before pulling up. Diane was already at the door before Julie even knocked. Julie, you came... She threw herself at Julie's legs. I helped Daddy make dinner, and I set the table with the fancy plates, and I drew you another picture. Breathe, sweetheart, Matt said, appearing behind her. He wore jeans and a sweater and looked more relaxed than Julie had ever seen him. Hi. Hi, Julie said. Her heart was doing something complicated in her chest. The house was warm and lived in. Pictures on the walls, Diane's drawings on the fridge, toys scattered in the corner. It felt like a home, not a showplace. I wasn't sure what you liked, so I made pasta, Matt said, leading her to the kitchen. Diane insisted we have garlic bread because it's the best food in the world, apparently. It is the best food, Diane said seriously. Everyone knows that. Dinner was easy in a way Julie hadn't expected. Diane chattered about school and her friends, and a butterfly she'd seen that week. Matt told stories about Diane learning to ride a bike and refusing to wear anything but princess dresses for 6 months straight. Julie found herself really laughing for the first time in months. Tell Julie about the soup, Diane said suddenly. Matt's expression shifted. Diane, no, tell her it's important. Diane turned to Julie. Every week Daddy takes me to the shelter, the one where we stayed before we met you. And we bring soup. Because you gave us soup when we had nothing, and Daddy says we should remember that forever. Julie's throat closed. You do. Matt nodded. Every Saturday morning, Diane and I make a big pot and take it down. She insists on serving it herself. Because soup is love, Diane said matter-of-factly. That's what you taught us. Julie had to look away before the tears came. She hadn't taught them anything. She'd just done what felt right. After dinner, Diane pulled Julie to the living room to show her a new drawing. It was a house with 3 stick figures outside. Labels underneath Daddy, Diane, Julie. That's us, Diane said. Together. Julie looked at Matt, who was watching from the doorway. His expression was soft and vulnerable and full of something that made her chest ache. It's perfect, Julie whispered to Diane. Can I keep it? It's for you, I made it for you. Diane hugged her tight. You're my best friend, Julie, besides Daddy, but you're my grown-up best friend. You're my best friend too, sweetheart. After Diane went to bed, Julie and Matt sat on the back porch with wine. The night was cool, but not cold. Spring was finally coming. She really loves you, Matt said quietly. I don't think she's fully processed that yet, but I see it. The way she lights up when you're around, the way she talks about you constantly. I love her too, Julie said. She's special. She is, Matt paused. Her mother would have loved you. Sarah was all about helping people, seeing the good in everyone. You remind me of her sometimes. Is that weird that I remind you of your late wife? No, Matt turned to look at her. It's one of the reasons I knew you were meant to be in our lives. Sarah always said the universe sends you exactly who you need when you need them most. I didn't believe her, but then I met you. Julie set down her wine. Matt, we need to talk about what's happening here. I know. Because this, she gestured between them. This isn't just friendship, and it's not just gratitude, and it's definitely not just professional. No, it's not. Matt's voice was steady. It's more. It's been more for a while now. But I work for you. People already think I got my job through inappropriate means. Julie stopped. If we become something more, it'll confirm everything they suspect. So we don't tell them, Matt said. Not yet. Not until you're established enough that no one can question your position. That could take years. Then we wait years. Matt reached over and took her hand. Julie, I've spent the last 1.5 years existing but not living, going through motions, doing what I was supposed to do. And then I met you, and suddenly I remembered what it felt like to actually feel something, to want something, to hope for something. I'm scared, Julie admitted. I'm scared of messing this up, of losing my job, of hurting Diane if this doesn't work out, of... Her voice cracked. Of being happy and having it taken away again. Matt squeezed her hand. I'm scared too. Terrified, actually. The last woman I loved died in my arms. The thought of opening my heart again, of letting someone else in, of watching Diane attached to someone who might leave. He stopped. It's the scariest thing I've done since that night in the storm. So what do? Julie asked. We take it slow. We're careful. We see where this goes without rushing. Matt turned to face her fully. But we're honest with each other. About everything. About what we want and what we're afraid of and what we need. No games, no pretending, just us. Julie thought about all the reasons this was a bad idea. About Patricia already watching her every move. About the whispers that would become roars if anyone found out. About everything she'd built that could come crashing down. Then she thought about Diane's drawing. About feeling at home for the first time in years. About Matt's hand in hers and the way he looked at her like she was something precious. "Okay," she said quietly, slow and careful and honest. "Is that a yes?" Matt asked. "That's a yes." He smiled, really smiled, and Julie felt something in her chest unlock. Something that had been closed for so long she'd forgotten it could open. They talked until midnight, about Sarah and how grief never really ends, about Julie's father and the hole he'd left, about their mothers and the women who'd shaped them, about fears and hopes and all the messy, complicated feelings that came with starting something new while still healing from something old. When Matt walked Julie to her car, he hesitated at the door. "Can I kiss you?" he asked. "Or is that too fast?" Julie answered by closing the distance between them. The kiss was soft and tentative and perfect, like coming home, like hope made physical. "Not too fast," she whispered when they pulled apart. The next morning at work, everything was the same and completely different. Julie sat in meetings and reviewed proposals and handled employee issues. But now there was a text waiting when she checked her phone, a smile from Matt when they passed in the hallway, a secret that felt less like a burden and more like a promise. Patricia noticed, of course. She always noticed. "You seem cheerful today," Patricia said, stopping by Julie's office. "Something good happened over the weekend?" "Just enjoying the spring weather," Julie said evenly. Patricia's eyes were sharp. "You know, it's interesting. Matthew's been in better spirits lately, too. Almost like something changed recently." Julie met her gaze steadily. "Maybe he's just happy the new programs are working. Turnover's down 18% since we started. Or maybe it's something else." Patricia leaned against the doorframe. "But I'm sure you wouldn't know anything about that. After all, mixing personal and professional is such a dangerous thing. Careers have been destroyed for less." "Is there something specific you needed?" Julie asked. "Or did you just come by to make vague, threatening statements?" Patricia smiled coldly. "Just offering friendly advice. This company has eaten people alive for lesser offenses. It would be a shame if all your hard work got undone because of poor judgment." She left before Julie could respond. Julie sat there, hands shaking, Patricia's words echoing. Her phone buzzed. Text from Matt. "Patricia just left my office. Are you okay?" "She knows something," Julie typed back. "She suspects. That's different. Don't let her scare you." But Julie was scared. Because Patricia was right. Everything she'd built could come crashing down. And now it wasn't just her career at risk. It was Matt's. It was Diane's stability. It was all of it. That night, Julie worked late, avoiding going home, avoiding thinking. Rachel found her at 8, still at her desk. "You're spiraling," Rachel said, sitting down without invitation. "I know because I've seen you spiral before. What happened?" Julie looked up. "Can I ask you something, honestly?" "Always." "Do people talk about me and Matt?" Rachel was quiet for a moment. "Some people talk. Patricia mostly. She's convinced something's going on and she's determined to prove it." "Is she right?" Julie asked quietly. Rachel studied her. "Are you asking as my boss or as someone who needs a friend?" "Friend. Definitely friend." "Then yes, I think she's right. I've seen the way he looks at you. The way you light up when Diane visits. The way you two are around each other." Rachel leaned forward. "And honestly, I think it's beautiful. But I also think you need to be really careful." "I know." Julie put her head in her hands. "I know it's risky and stupid and could destroy everything. But Rachel, I haven't felt this way in..." She stopped. "I haven't felt this way ever, actually, and I don't know what to do with that." "Do you love him?" Rachel asked. Julie's breath caught. Love. She hadn't let herself think that word yet. "I don't know," she said. "Maybe. Is that crazy? We haven't even been whatever we are for more than a week." "Love doesn't follow timelines," Rachel said. "My parents knew after 3 days. My sister knew after 6 months. There's no right answer." She paused. "But Julie, if you're going to do this, you need to be smart about it. No public displays. No lunch meetings that look like dates. Nothing that gives Patricia ammunition. We're being careful. Being careful isn't enough. You need to be invisible. Rachel's voice was firm. Because if Patricia proves something's going on, she won't just come after you. She'll come after every program you've built. She'll say it was all favoritism, that the Employee Assistance Fund was just a way for Matt to give you power. She'll destroy everything. Julie felt sick. So what do I do to end it before it starts? That's up to you, but you need to know what you're risking. Rachel stood up. For what it's worth, I think you two could be really good together. I just don't want to see you hurt, either of you. After Rachel left, Julie sat in her dark office and tried to think clearly. She could end it. Tell Matt it was too complicated. Focus on work. Play it safe. But playing it safe was what she'd done her whole life. And where had it gotten her alone? Struggling. Settling for less than she deserved. Maybe it was time to take a risk. She picked up her phone and called Matt. Hey, he answered. You still at the office? Yeah, can you talk? Always? What's wrong? Julie took a breath. Patricia's watching us, really watching us. And if she finds proof of anything, she'll use it to destroy everything we've built. I know, Matt said quietly. She told me this afternoon that she's requesting a formal review of all hiring and promotion decisions I've made in the last 3 months. Julie's stomach dropped. Matt? It's fine. Everything was done by the book. You earned every promotion. The review will show that. Will it, or will it show that I got preferential treatment? You didn't get preferential treatment. You got recognized for excellent work. There's a difference. But they won't see it that way. Julie was pacing now. They'll see a CEO who hired someone he met under questionable circumstances and promoted her unreasonably fast. And then if they find out about us, they won't find out we're careful. Are we? Julie stopped. Matt, I was at your house yesterday for dinner. What if someone saw? What if Patricia's already having us followed? You're spiraling, Matt said gently. Take a breath. I can't breathe. I can't. Julie's voice cracked. I can't lose this job. My mom's treatment, the insurance, everything we've built for other employees. I can't lose it because I fell for my boss. Silence on the other end. Then you fell for me. Julie realized what she'd said. Because I've fallen for you too, Matt said softly. Completely. I've been trying not to because of all the reasons you just listed. But I can't help it. You're incredible, Julie. The way you care about people, the way you fight for what's right, the way you make Diane laugh, the way you make me feel like I could be happy again. Tears were streaming down Julie's face. This is impossible. Nothing is impossible, just hard. Matt paused. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to let Patricia do her review. It'll come back clean because everything was legitimate. Then we're going to keep doing exactly what we're doing, building programs helping people changing this company. And in our private time, we're going to figure out us. Carefully, slowly. But we're not going to let fear stop us from something good. What about Diane? Julie asked. If this doesn't work out, Diane loves you whether we're together or not. That won't change. Matt's voice was firm. But I don't think this is going to not work out. I think we're going to figure it out. Because we're both fighters. We don't give up when things get hard. Julie wiped her eyes. When did you get so optimistic? When I met you. She could hear the smile in his voice. You remind me that good things can happen, even when everything seems impossible. I'm still scared, Julie admitted. Me too. Let's be scared together. Julie laughed despite everything. That's the worst pep talk ever. Yeah, well, I'm better at business strategy than emotional support, but I'm trying. I know, that's one of the things Julie stopped. She'd almost said love. That's one of the things I really appreciate about you. Nice save, Matt said gently. But Julie, whenever you're ready to finish that sentence, I'll be here to listen. They talked for another hour, made plans to be more careful, agreed to no communication at work unless necessary, decided that Diane visits would happen through official channels so no one could question them. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. The next few weeks were tense. Patricia's review moved forward. Auditors examined every decision Julie had made, every employee she'd helped, every program she'd created. Julie barely slept. She ran the numbers constantly, made sure every decision was documented, prepared for the worst. Matt was calm through all of it, which only made Julie more anxious. How could he be so confident? Because I know we did everything right, he said one night on the phone. They only talked late now when the office was empty and no one could overhear. And I know you're the best hire I've ever made. The review will prove it. You can't know that. I can, and I do. 3 weeks later, the results came back. Julie sat in Matt's office with Patricia and 2 board members while they reviewed the findings. The review found all hiring and promotion decisions to be merit-based and properly documented. The lead board member read Miss Harper's qualifications, while unconventional, are appropriate for her position. Her performance metrics exceed expectations. Employee satisfaction scores have improved significantly under her leadership. Julie felt like she could breathe for the first time in weeks. However, the board member continued, there are concerns about the perception of impropriety. We recommend establishing clear boundaries between executive leadership and department heads to avoid any appearance of favoritism. That's reasonable, Matt said smoothly. We'll implement regular oversight meetings and increase transparency in all decision-making. Patricia looked like she'd swallowed something sour. This doesn't change the fact that the circumstances of Ms. Harper's hiring were highly unusual. Unusual doesn't mean improper, the board member said. Unless you have evidence of actual wrongdoing, this matter is closed. Patricia stood up stiffly. Of course, thank you for your thoroughness. After everyone left, Julie collapsed in the chair. I thought I was going to throw up. You didn't, though. You sat there with perfect composure and let the facts speak for themselves. Matt was smiling. I'm proud of you. It's not over, Julie said. Patricia's still watching. Let her watch. There's nothing to see except you doing excellent work. But Julie knew better. Patricia wasn't done, she was just getting started. And next time she'd be more careful, more thorough, more determined to find something damaging. Julie left Matt's office and went straight to Rachel's desk. We need to talk, Julie said, about damage control, about protecting everything we've built. Because Patricia's coming back, and next time we need to be ready. Rachel looked up and saw the determination in Julie's face. Okay, let's build a fortress. They worked through lunch, created documentation protocols, established oversight procedures, made sure every single decision had multiple layers of approval. This is exhausting, Julie said after 3 hours. This is survival, Rachel countered. Welcome to corporate warfare. Julie went home that night feeling like she'd aged 10 years. Her mother took one look at her and started making tea. Talk to me, Margaret said. So Julie told her everything, about the review, about Patricia, about the constant stress of hiding her feelings from Matt while trying to do her job well. Baby life is too short for this much stress, Margaret said when she finished. I should know. Cancer teaches you that lesson real fast. What am I supposed to do? Give up the job? Give up Matt? Give up helping people? No. Margaret took her hand. You're supposed to decide what matters most and fight for it. You've been fighting for everyone else. Maybe it's time to fight for yourself, too. Julie looked at her mother, thinner than she used to be, but getting stronger color returning to her cheeks, thanks to treatment Julie could only afford because of this job. I'm fighting for us, Julie said quietly. For this. For your treatment. For our future. Our future is secure, Margaret said firmly. I'm doing better. The treatment's working. You don't need to sacrifice your happiness for my health anymore. It's not a sacrifice. Yes, it is, and I'm telling you to stop. Margaret's voice was firm. Live your life, Julie. Fall in love. Be happy. That's what I want more than anything. Julie's eyes filled with tears. I'm trying, Mom. I really am. I know, baby. I know. That night, Julie lay in bed staring at her phone. Matt had texted hours ago just a simple, thinking of you, but she hadn't responded. Didn't know what to say. Finally, she typed, Can I see you, just for a little while? The response was immediate. I'll pick you up in 10 minutes. They drove to a park on the edge of the city. Quiet, empty at this hour. They sat on a bench and Julie let herself lean against him. I'm exhausted, she said. I know. I don't know how much more of this I can take. Yes, you do. Matt wrapped his arm around her. You're the strongest person I know. You'll take as much as you have to because that's who you are. What if I don't want to be that person anymore? Julie asked quietly. What if I want to be someone who gets to be happy without fighting for every inch of it? Then be that person, Matt said simply. Starting right now, stop fighting, stop worrying, just be here with me. So she did it. For 1 hour, she let herself stop fighting. Let herself just be Julie, not VP of Employee Relations, not Margaret's daughter, not Patricia's target, just Julie sitting with someone she cared about, letting herself feel something good. It wasn't a solution, it wasn't a plan, but it was enough for now. 2 months passed in careful balance. Julie threw herself into work with renewed purpose. The employee wellness programs expanded. They'd helped over 100 people now, real people with real problems who actually had support for the first time. And in the stolen moments between meetings and obligations, there was Matt. Late-night phone calls. Secret dinners after Diane went to sleep. Careful touches in empty hallways. It wasn't perfect, but it was theirs. Until the board meeting in May. Julie wasn't supposed to be there. VP level wasn't high enough for quarterly board presentations, but Matt had insisted she present the wellness program results herself. They need to see who's behind this, he'd said. They need to see you. So Julie stood in front of 15 board members and presented 6 months of data. Retention rates up, productivity up, employee satisfaction scores higher than they'd been in 5 years. Healthcare costs down because people were getting help before crises hit. The numbers spoke for themselves. Impressive work, Ms. Harper, one board member said when she finished. These results are remarkable. Thank you, but it's not just me. I have an incredible team and employees who are brave enough to ask for help. Still, the vision here is clearly yours. The board member looked at Matt. You made an excellent hire, Matthew. Patricia, sitting in the corner, looked like she'd swallowed glass. After the meeting, Julie was packing up her materials when Patricia cornered her in the hallway. Congratulations, Patricia said. Her voice was ice. You've managed to fool everyone. I haven't fooled anyone. The results are real. The results are meaningless if they're built on lies. Patricia stepped closer. I know about you and Matthew. I don't have proof yet, but I will. And when I do, everything you've built will come crashing down. Julie's heart hammered, but she kept her voice steady. There's nothing to know. Matt is my boss. I respect him professionally, that's all. Is it? Patricia's smile was cruel. Then why does his daughter call you every weekend? Why do you have dinner at his house twice a week? Why do you light up like a Christmas tree every time he walks in a room? Diane and I are friends. Matt and I work closely together. You're seeing things that aren't there because you want them to be there. We'll see. Patricia turned to leave, then stopped. You know what the saddest part is? You're actually good at this job. You could have had a real career here, but you threw it away for a man. How disappointingly predictable. She walked away, leaving Julie shaking in the empty hallway. That night, Julie called Matt from her car. We need to talk now. They met at the same park. Julie was pacing before he even got out of his car. Patricia knows, she said without preamble. She doesn't have proof, but she knows. She mentioned Diane, she mentioned dinners. She's been watching us. Matt's jaw tightened. What exactly did she say? Julie repeated the conversation, watched Matt's expression darken with each word. This has to stop, he said finally. I know, I'll distance myself. No more dinners, no more bye. Matt grabbed her hands. That's not what I mean. This Patricia weaponizing her suspicions, threatening your career, making you feel like you have to hide who you care about, that has to stop. Matt, we don't have a choice. Yes, we do. His voice was firm. We can keep hiding and let her hold this over us forever. Or we can take away her power. Julie stared at him. What are you saying? I'm saying we tell the truth. We disclose the relationship to HR. We do it properly by the book so she has nothing to use against us. Are you insane? Julie pulled her hands away. If we disclose, everyone will know. They'll say I slept my way to the top. They'll question every decision I've made. The programs we've built will stand on their own merit because they're good programs with real results. Matt moved closer. Julie, I'm tired of hiding. I'm tired of pretending you're just a colleague when you're so much more. I'm tired of Diane asking why you can't come to her school play because people might talk. Diane asked that last week. She wanted you there for her big moment, and I had to say no because I was afraid someone from the company might see. Matt's voice cracked. I don't want to live like that anymore. I don't want her to learn that love is something to hide. Julie felt tears building. I'm scared? I know, so am I, but I'm more scared of losing you because we're too afraid to fight for this. Matt cupped her face gently. Julie, I love you. I'm in love with you. I should have said it weeks ago, but I was trying to be careful and slow and all the things we agreed on. But life's too short for careful. Sarah taught me that. Every day I had with her mattered because I knew our time was limited. And now I have a chance at something real with you, and I'm not going to waste it being afraid. The tears spilled over. I love you too. God, I love you so much it terrifies me. Then let's be terrified together. Let's do this the right way. Disclosure, transparency, letting the work speak for itself. We'll face whatever comes, but we'll face it honestly. Julie thought about her mother's words, about fighting for what mattered, about living instead of just surviving. Okay, she whispered. Let's do it. They drafted the disclosure that night. Relationship began 2 months prior. Both parties aware of potential conflicts of interest, requesting oversight on any decisions involving Julie's position or compensation. Committed to maintaining professionalism. Matt submitted it to HR first thing Monday morning. By lunch, the entire company knew. Julie's phone exploded with texts, some supportive, many not. Rachel appeared in her doorway at 1:30. Well, you've certainly given people something to talk about, Rachel said, closing the door behind her. I know, it's a disaster. Actually, it's brilliant. Rachel sat down. You beat Patricia to it. She wanted to expose you as having an inappropriate relationship. Instead, you disclosed a consensual relationship between adults following proper company protocol. She has nothing. She has months of ammunition about how I got this job, which the board already reviewed and cleared. Julie, you did this right. You can't control what people say, but you can control the narrative. And right now, the narrative is 2 people who fell in love are handling it professionally and transparently. Julie wanted to believe her, but the whispers in the hallway said otherwise. The looks from coworkers, the way conversations stopped when she walked by. At 3 o'clock, she was called to Patricia's office. Julie knocked and entered. Patricia sat behind her desk, expression unreadable. Sit, Patricia said. Julie sat. Well played, Patricia said after a long moment. I'll admit I didn't see that coming. Disclosure before accusation. Smart. It wasn't strategy, it was honesty. Was it? Patricia leaned back. Or was it damage control? Knowing I was close to exposing you, you decided to control the story first. Think whatever you want. The truth is, I fell in love with a good man who happens to be my boss. We handled it properly, that's all. Patricia studied her for a long moment. You really believe that, don't you? That this is some fairy tale? That love conquers all? I believe that hiding who you care about gives other people power over you, Julie said quietly. And I'm done giving you that power. Something flickered in Patricia's expression. You know, I almost respect that. Almost. She pulled out a folder. But here's the reality. I've spent 6 months documenting every decision you've made, every employee you've helped, every dollar you've spent. And I've found irregularities. Julie's stomach dropped. What kind of irregularities? The kind that suggest preferential treatment. Employees getting assistants who didn't quite meet program criteria. Funds allocated without proper approval. Small things, but together they paint a picture of someone who plays fast and loose with company resources. That's not true. Every case was reviewed by you and your team, who all owe their jobs to you. Patricia slid the folder across. The board will be reviewing this at next week's meeting. I thought you should know. Julie took the folder with shaking hands. You're trying to destroy me. I'm protecting this company from people who think the rules don't apply to them, from people who use personal relationships to advance their careers, from people like you. Why? Julie asked. Why do you hate me so much? Patricia's expression hardened. Because people like you always win. You show up, play the victim, get handed opportunities the rest of us had to fight for, and then act like you earned it. You didn't earn anything. You got lucky. You met the right person at the right time, and you've been riding that luck ever since. That's not... Get out of my office. Patricia's voice was cold. And enjoy your week. It may be your last here. Julie fled. Made it to her office before the panic hit. The folder shook in her hands. She opened it and started reading. Patricia had been thorough. Every case Julie had pushed through quickly. Every time she'd advocated for someone who didn't quite meet the written criteria. Every decision made from the heart instead of by the book. It looked bad. On paper, without context, it looked really bad. Julie called Matt. "I need to see you. Now, your office." 5 minutes later, she was pacing in front of his desk while he read through Patricia's documentation. "This is all explainable," Matt said finally. "Each of these cases had valid reasons. That's not how it's going to look to the board. They're going to see someone who bent the rules to help her friends. Someone who spent company money irresponsibly. Someone who—" Julie's voice broke. "Someone who proved Patricia right about everything." "That's not what this shows." "Yes, it is." Julie stopped pacing. "Matt, she's right. I did push cases through quickly. I did advocate for people who didn't perfectly fit the criteria. Because I knew what it felt like to need help and not have it. Because I knew that sometimes the rules are wrong. But on paper, it looks like exactly what she's saying." Matt stood up, came around the desk. "Then we show them the context. We show them that every one of these people needed help. That the programs were designed to be flexible for exactly these situations. That your judgment calls saved lives. Will that be enough?" "It has to be." Matt pulled her into his arms. "We'll fight this, together." But Julie wasn't sure fighting would be enough this time. That night she couldn't sleep. She lay in bed running through every case in Patricia's file, trying to remember exact timelines, exact justifications, exact documentation that might or might not exist. At 2 a.m., her mother knocked softly and came in. "Can't sleep," Margaret asked. "How did you know?" "I'm your mother. I always know." Margaret sat on the edge of the bed. "Talk to me." So Julie told her everything about the disclosure, about Patricia's file, about potentially losing everything she'd built. "And the worst part," Julie said, "she's not completely wrong. I did bend the rules. I did make judgment calls that weren't by the book. Because the book was wrong, because the system was broken. But that doesn't matter if the board only sees the numbers." Margaret was quiet for a long moment. "Do you remember when your father died?" The question surprised Julie. "Of course." "Do you remember what I did, how I kept us afloat?" "You worked 3 jobs, cleaned houses during the day, waited tables at night, took in sewing on weekends." "I also bent some rules," Margaret said quietly. "I took government assistance we weren't quite qualified for. I let the landlord think I had a job I'd already lost to buy us time. I borrowed money I wasn't sure I could pay back. Were those the right things to do by the book? No. Did they keep us alive?" Yeah, Julie stared at her mother. "I never knew that." "Because I never told you. I was ashamed. Felt like I'd failed you by not being able to do it the right way." Margaret took her hand. "But you know what I learned? Sometimes the right way isn't the rules. Sometimes the right way is keeping your child fed and housed and safe. Sometimes the right way is seeing a person in crisis and helping them, even if it doesn't check all the boxes." Mom, you did the right thing, Julie, every single time. You saw people suffering and you helped them. If the board can't see that, if they can't see that your heart was in the right place and your results speak for themselves, then they don't deserve you." Julie felt tears streaming down her face. "I don't want to lose this job. The insurance, your treatment, we'll be fine. I'm doing better. We have savings now. We'll figure it out." Margaret squeezed her hand. "Don't you dare compromise who you are to keep a job. Don't you dare apologize for caring too much. That's your superpower, baby. Don't let them make you think it's a weakness." Julie collapsed against her mother and cried. For everything she might lose, for everything she'd fought for the unfairness of having to defend doing good. The week crawled by. Julie prepared her defense, gathered testimonials from every person she'd helped, documented outcomes, built her case. Matt worked alongside her every evening, helping prepare presentations, reviewing arguments, making sure everything was airtight. "You're going to be brilliant," he told her the night before the board meeting. "What if brilliant isn't enough? Then we'll deal with it. But Julie, even if the worst happens, you've already won. You've changed over 100 lives. You've built something real. No board decision can take that away." The morning of the meeting, Julie put on her best suit, the one she'd worn to her first interview. She touched the green wire bracelet on her wrist. Diane had made her promise to wear it for good luck. "You've got this," she whispered to her reflection. The boardroom was packed. All 15 board members, Patricia, Matt, HR. Julie stood at the front with her presentation ready and her heart hammering. Patricia went first. She presented her case methodically. Every irregularity, every bent rule, every decision that looked questionable on paper. "Ms. Harper has done some good work," Patricia concluded. "But the ends don't justify the means. She's shown poor judgment, played favorites, and operated outside established protocols. I recommend immediate termination." The room was silent. Julie felt like she was going to be sick. "Ms. Harper." The board chairman nodded to her. "Your response?" Julie took a breath. She could defend herself point by point, show how each decision was justified, play their game by their rules, or she could tell the truth. She closed her laptop, set aside her notes. "You're right," she said to Patricia. "I did bend the rules. I made judgment calls that weren't by the book. I pushed cases through quickly and advocated for people who didn't perfectly fit the criteria." Matt looked at her with concern. Several board members exchanged glances. "But here's what Ms. Hendricks' report doesn't show," Julie continued. "It doesn't show Maria Rodriguez, who was about to lose custody of her kids because she couldn't afford childcare during a medical crisis. We got her emergency assistance in 48 hours instead of the standard 2 weeks. Her kids are still with her. She's back at work. She's thriving. It doesn't show James Chen, who was rationing insulin and about to end up in the hospital. We connected him with pharmaceutical assistance that saved his life and saved this company from losing an incredible employee. It doesn't show Karen Williams, who was sleeping in her car because she couldn't afford rent after her divorce. We helped her get into affordable housing. She's now one of our top performers in sales." Julie pulled out a folder of her own. "I have 100 stories like this. 100 people who needed help immediately and couldn't wait for bureaucracy. 100 cases where following the exact letter of policy would have meant disaster for real human beings." She looked around at the room. "So, yes, I bent the rules, because the rules were designed to protect the company from risk, not to protect people from crisis. And I decided that people mattered more than protocol." "That's not your decision to make," Patricia said coldly. "You're right, it's yours." Julie turned to the board. "You can fire me for caring too much, for helping too quickly, for putting people before paperwork. That's absolutely your choice. But before you do, I want you to look at the results." She clicked to her final slide. Retention rates, productivity scores, employee satisfaction, healthcare cost savings, return on investment. Every dollar we spent helping people came back threefold. Every rule I bent led to better outcomes. Every judgment call I made was the right one. Not because I'm special, but because I actually know what it's like to need help and not have it. Her voice broke slightly. 6 months ago, I was sitting where these employees were, drowning in medical bills, losing my job, watching my mother suffer because we couldn't afford treatment. I know what desperation feels like. I know what it means when someone actually helps instead of just following protocol. And I refuse to apologize for giving other people what I wished someone had given me. The room was completely silent. "So fire me if you want," Julie said quietly. "But don't fire me because I broke rules. Fire me because I cared too much. Because that's the real issue here, isn't it? I cared about people more than I cared about looking good on paper." She sat down. Her hands were shaking, but her voice had been steady. The board chairman cleared his throat. "Thank you, Ms. Harper. We'll deliberate and inform you of our decision." "Actually," Matt stood up. "Before you deliberate, I have something to say." "Matthew, this isn't—" Patricia started. "Let him speak," the chairman said. Matt walked to the front of the room. "When I took this position 6 months ago, I inherited a company with good profits and terrible morale. People were leaving. People were burning out. People were suffering in silence because asking for help was seen as weakness." He gestured to Julie. "Then I met someone who showed me what real leadership looks like. Not someone who follows every rule perfectly. Someone who sees people suffering and actually does something about it. Someone who's brave enough to bend when the rules are wrong." "This is highly inappropriate," Patricia said. "Let me finish." Matt's voice was firm. "I'm in love with Julie Harper. I disclosed that relationship properly following every protocol. But my feelings for her don't change the fact that she's the best hire I've made in 15 years. That her programs have transformed this company, that firing her would be the biggest mistake this board could make. He turned to face them. So here's my position. If you fire Julie for helping too much, for caring too much, for being too good at her job, then you should fire me too. Because I signed off on every single decision she made. I supported every program. I approved every expense. If she's guilty of poor judgment, then so am I. Patricia looked furious. Matthew, you can't... I just did. Matt looked at Julie. His expression was soft and open and full of everything he felt. We stand together. That's the deal. The chairman looked between them. This is unprecedented. Good, Matt said. Because what Julie built here is unprecedented too. And you'd be fools to destroy it. The board deliberated for 2 hours. Julie and Matt waited in his office, not speaking, just sitting together. Finally, they were called back. The chairman stood. The board has made a decision. After reviewing all evidence and considering the testimony presented, we've determined that while Ms. Harper's methods were unconventional, her results are undeniable. The programs she's built have clear value. The employees she's helped are thriving. The return on investment is significant. Julie couldn't breathe. However, the chairman continued, we agree that more oversight is needed. Going forward, all emergency assistance cases will require approval from both Ms. Harper and an independent oversight committee. Regular audits will ensure compliance with expanded but clearly defined protocols. So she's not fired? Matt asked. Ms. Harper is not fired. In fact, given the success of these programs, the board is approving expansion to our other office locations. We're promoting Ms. Harper to Senior Vice President of Employee Relations effective immediately. Julie's ears were ringing. I'm sorry, what? You're promoted, the chairman said with a slight smile. Your salary will increase accordingly. You'll hire a team to support expansion, and you'll work with Ms. Hendricks to establish the oversight protocols. I have to work with Patricia, Julie asked. Consider it an opportunity for both of you to learn from each other, the chairman said diplomatically. After the meeting ended and everyone filed out, Julie stood in the empty boardroom in shock. Did that really just happen? She asked Matt. You just got promoted for being too good at your job. Matt was grinning. Yes, that really just happened. Julie started laughing, then crying, then both at once. Matt pulled her into his arms and held her while she shook. I thought I was going to lose everything, she whispered. You didn't lose anything. You won. You fought, and you won. We won, Julie corrected. You stood up there and... She pulled back to look at him. You put your job on the line for me. I put my job on the line for us, Matt said. For what's right. For what matters. Julie kissed him right there in the boardroom. Didn't care who might see. Didn't care about protocol or appearances. Just kissed him like he was everything. Because he was. That night, Matt insisted on celebrating. He picked up Julie and her mother and drove them to his house where Diane was waiting with a banner that said, Congratulations, Julie, in crooked letters. We're so proud of you. Diane threw herself at Julie. Daddy said you were the bravest person in the whole world today. I don't know about that, Julie said. But she was smiling. They had dinner together, the four of them, like a family. Diane told elaborate stories about her day. Margaret and Matt talked about books they'd both read. Julie just watched them all and felt something she hadn't felt in years. Complete, whole, home. Later, after Diane went to bed and Margaret was dozing on the couch, Matt found Julie on the back porch. Big day, he said, sliding his arm around her. Biggest of my life. Well, second biggest. Julie leaned into him. The first was the night I met you. Look at us, Matt said softly. 6 months ago, we were two broken people in a storm. Now we're here. Are you still broken? Julie asked. Matt thought about it. Less broken. Maybe healing. You... Same. Julie looked up at the stars. I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. For something to go wrong. For this to turn out to be too good to be true. It's not too good. It's just good. Regular, complicated, messy good. Matt turned her to face him. Julie Harper, I love you. I love your big heart and your fierce protectiveness and the way you fight for people who can't fight for themselves. I love how you make Diane laugh and how you're patient with my grief and how you make me believe in second chances. I love all of it. Julie's eyes filled with tears. I love you too. So much it scares me. Good scared or bad scared? Good scared. The kind that means it matters. Julie took a breath. Matt, I don't know what our future looks like. I don't know how we navigate this with work and Diane and all the complications. But I know I want to figure it out with you. Then we will. Matt pulled something from his pocket, a small box. I know it's fast. I know we agreed to take things slow, but life's too short and I've already wasted too much time being afraid. He opened the box. Inside was a ring. Simple. Beautiful. Perfect. I'm not asking you to marry me tomorrow, Matt said quickly. I'm just asking you to say yes to the possibility. Yes to building a future together. Yes to you and me and Diane and your mom and whatever family we become. What do you say? Julie looked at the ring, looked at Matt, looked through the window at Diane's drawings on the fridge and her mother sleeping peacefully on the couch. She thought about the green wire bracelet still on her wrist, about a freezing night when she'd helped strangers because it was the right thing to do, about how that one choice had led to everything, about how rock bottom really had been where her miracle began. Yes, she whispered. Yes to all of it. Matt slipped the ring on her finger. It fit perfectly, like it was always meant to be there. They stood on that porch holding each other while the city lights glittered in the distance. Two people who'd found each other in the darkness and chosen to build something in the light. Inside, Diane stirred and called out, Julie, are you still here? Julie pulled away from Matt and smiled. I'm here, sweetheart. I'm not going anywhere. Promise. Julie looked at the ring on her finger, at the man beside her, at the life they were building together. Promise, she said. I promise. And for the first time in her life, Julie Harper believed that good things could last. That happiness didn't have to be fought for every single day. That sometimes when you opened your door to strangers in a storm, you were really opening your heart to everything you'd been waiting for. The journey hadn't been easy. The path ahead wouldn't be either. But standing there with Matt's hand in hers and Diane's voice calling her home, Julie knew one thing for certain. It had all been worth it. Every struggle, every fear, every moment of doubt. Because it had led her here, to this family, to this love, to this life. She thought that night in February was the end of her story. Turned out it was just the beginning.